Bolo Shri Haryakandi Bhagwan Ki Jai Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai. In our last discourse, we learned about King Santanu marrying Satyavati, the mother of Veda Vyasa. We'll go on with chapter 6. Sutta said, the Santanu married Satyavati, and 2 sons were born to her, and they died in course of time. Out of Veda Vyasa semen, Drastra was born by Ambika Devi, the mother of Dharashtra, closed her eyes on seeing Veda Vyasa. Hence, the baby was born blind. And seeing that, Satyavati then asked Veda Vyasa to go to Ambalika, Pandu's mother. The queen Ambalika, mother of Pandu, turned pale at the sight of seeing Veda Vyasa, who had lived in the forest for so many years. Hence, her son became a pale color out of Veda Vyasa's wrath. Hence, the name of the son was Pandu. Next, the maidservant satisfied Veda Vyasa. Hence, her son was Vidura, was born of Dharma's part and became truthful and holy. Though Pandu was younger, the ministers installed him on the throne as Drastarata could not become king as he was blind. By the permission of Bhisma, the powerful Pandu obtained the sovereignty, and the intelligent Vidura became his minister. Now Dhritarashtra had 2 wives, Gandhari and Saubali. The king Pandu had 2 wives too. The first was Kunti, the daughter of Surasena, and the other was Madri, the daughter of the Madra king. Now Gandhari gave birth to 100 beautiful sons. While Kunti was a virgin, she had given birth through the medium of the sun, the lovely Karna. Next, she became the wife of Pandu. Hearing this, the rishi said, Muni, Sutta, what are you saying? First, Kunti brought forth a child, and afterwards she married Pandu? How could that be? This is indeed mysterious to us. How was karma born of Kunti when she was unmarried? And how come Kunti was able to marry afterwards? Describe all this in detail, please. Sutta then said, O Munis, while Surasena's daughter, Kunti, was still a virgin, the king Kundabhoja asked for Kunti that she might become her girl, her daughter. And Surasena gave her to this king, who brought her up, this very beautifully smiling girl. He put her at the service of Agnihotra. Once on occasion, Durvasa Muni, engaged in a vow lasting for 4 months, came there to the kingdom, and Kunti served him during that period. The Muni became greatly pleased and gave her a very auspicious mantra by virtue of which any deva, when called upon by that mantra, will come to Kunti and satisfy her desires. When the Muni went away, Kunti, remaining in her house, wanted to test that accuracy of the mantra and asked within herself what devata to call upon. Seeing the god Surya had arisen in the sky, Kunti uttered the mantra and invoked him. The sun, then assuming an excellent human form, came down from the heavens and appeared before Kunti in the same room as her. Seeing the Deva sun, Kunti became greatly surprised and began to shudder, and instantly became endowed with the inherent natural qualities of passion. The beautiful-eyed Kunti, with folded palms, spoke to Surya Deva, saying, standing before her, I am highly pleased today, seeing thy form. Now go back to thy sphere. Surya Deva said, O Kunti, what for have you called me? By virtue of this mantra. Calling me, why do you not worship me standing before you? O beautiful blue one, seeing you, I have become passionate. So come to me. By means of the mantra, you have made me your subservient. So take me for your lover. Hearing this, Kunti said, O witness of all, O knower of Dharma, you know that I am a virgin. O Surya, I bow down to you. I am a family daughter. Do not speak to ill like this to me. Surya then said, if I go away in vain, I will be the object of great shame, and in no doubt will be laughed at amongst the gods. So, O Kunti, if you do not satisfy me, I will immediately curse you and the Brahmin who has given you this mantra. O beautiful one, if you satisfy me, your virginity will remain. Nobody will come to know, and there will be born to you a son exactly like me. Thus saying, Surya Deva enjoyed the bashful Kunti with her mind attracted toward him. He granted her the desired boons and went away. The beautiful Kunti became pregnant and began to remain in a house under great secrecy. Only the dear nurse knew that. Her mother or any other person was quite unaware of the fact. In time, a very beautiful son, like the second son, and Kartikeya, decked with a lovely coat of mail and 2 earrings, was born there. Then the nurse caught hold of the hand of the beautiful Kunti and said, O charming one, what care can you possibly have? As long as I am living, I will help you. Kunti then placed the son in a box and said, O son, what shall I do? Being afraid of shame, I am leaving you, though you are dear to me as my life. I am exceedingly unfortunate that I am casting aside this all-auspicious son. May the attributeless Bhagavati, Ambika, the World Mother, and the Lady of all, endowed with attributes, protect thee. May Katyani, the giver of all desires, feed you with her milk. Alas, I am quitting you, born of Surya semen in this solitary forest like a wanton woman. I do not know when shall I ever see your lotus-like face again, dearest to me like myself. Alas, I never worshipped in my former birth Shiva and Shivani, the mother of the 3 worlds. I never meditated on her lotus-like feet, the giver of all happiness. Hence I am so unfortunate. O dear son, I must perform great tapasya to expiate for this terrible sin that I knowingly commit in relinquishing you in the forest. Then Sutta said, thus saying to the son within the box, Kunti gave over that to the hands of her nurse, terrified lest someone might see her. Kunti then bathed and remained with a fearful heart in her father's house. By chance, a carpenter named Adhiratha got accidentally that box floating in the Ganges. The carpenter's wife, Radha, prayed for the son and nourished him under her care. Thus nourished in the carpenter's house, the famous Kunti's son, named Karna, became a very powerful warrior. The king Pandu then married Kunti in Asvayamvara, a marriage in which the girl chooses her husband from among a number of suitors assembled together. And the all-auspicious daughter of the king of Madra became also the second wife of Pandu. Now once on an occasion, the powerful Pandu, while hunting in the forest, killed a Muni, who he didn't realize was a Muni. It was in the form of a deer, and the deer was actually engaged in the act of cohabitation, and thinking it to be a deer, Pandu shot him with an arrow. The dying Muni became inflated with wrath and cursed Pandu. If you cohabit, certainly you will die. Thus cursed by the Muni, Pandu became very sorrowful and abandoned his kingdom and began to live in the forest. O Munis, his two wives, Kunti and Madri, followed their husband, as chaste women do, to serve him in the forest. Dwelling in the hermitage of the Munis, Pandu listened to the Dharmasastras and practiced severe penance. Once, while he was listening to the religious discourses of the Munis, he heard unmistakably the Munis telling that the man who is sonless can never go to heaven, so he must get a son somehow or another. Hearing this, Pandu spoke to his lotus-eyed Kunti to procreate sons for him soon by a great ascetic Muni. By my order, you will not incur any sin in doing this. I had heard that in ancient times the high-souled King Sudasa got a son from Vishishta. Kunti then spoke to the king. O Lord, I know one Siddha mantra. It was given to me before by the Muni Durvasa. Whichever Deva I will invoke by that mantra, he will instantly come to my side, controlled by that mantra. At the request of the husband, Kunti invoked Dharma, the best of the Devas, and after being impregnated by him, gave birth to Yudhishthira. Then she got, through Pavana Deva, the son Rikodara, and through Indra, the son of the Devas, Arjuna. Thus in every year, Kunti gave birth to one son, and so in 3 years she gave birth to 3 very powerful and mighty sons. At this, Madri spoke to her husband, O king, the best of the Kurus, what shall I do now? Kindly suggest to me the means of procreating sons, O Lord. Remove my pain. Pandu asked Kunti that she would give Madhu the secret mantra, and Kunti, moved by pity, gave her the mantra so that she might also get a son. Then the beautiful Madri invoked the twin Ashvins under the advice of her husband and got a pair of twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, through them. O Munis, thus 5 Pandavas were born successively in every following year to the wives of Pandu by the seeds of the Devas. Once on a time, Pandu, whose end was drawing nigh, became very passionate at the sight of Madri in that solitary hermitage. He, though forbidden repeatedly by Madri, warmly embraced her as if dictated by the great destroyer, and fell to the ground dead. As the creeper falls down when the tree is felled, so Madri dropped on the ground and began to cry violently. Having heard the wailings of Madri, Kunti and the 5 sons of Pandu came there weeping and crying. A tumult then ensued, and the great Munis also appeared on the scene. Then those Munis, practicing great vows, knew that Pandu was dead and performed duly on the banks of the Ganges the ceremony of burning the dead. At that time, Madri gave over to Kunti the charge of her 2 sons and followed the sati practice along with her husband to go to Satyaloka. The Munis then performed Tarpana ceremonies in honor of Pandu and Madri and took Kunti and the 5 sons to Hastinapur. Knowing that Kunti had come, Bhishma, Vidura, and all the relatives of Dhrashtra within the city all came out to greet them. They all asked Kunti, "O beautiful one, who are these 5 sons?" Kunti then remembered the curse of Pandu and sorrowfully expressed, "These are the Deva's sons, born in Kuru family." In order to convince the people there, Kunti invoked the Devas who came in the celestial space above and said, "Yes, these are the sons born of our seeds." Bhishma then paid respect to the words of the Devas and honored duly the boys. Bhishma then took the 5 sons and Pandu's wife to Hastinapur and gladly nourished them. O Munis, the son of Pandu were thus born and nourished by Bhishma. Thus ends the 6th chapter of the 2nd book on the birth of the Pandavas in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshwari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.